the Israelis had been forced to halt their advance by the arrival of Iraqi troops.
They
arrived and surprised our forces when they attacked. We had put out an alert that the Iraqi forces are moving towards the Golan, but we couldn't tell them the precise location. So that came as a surprise. They tried to place part of the blame on us, but what could be done?
The Iraqi 3rd Armored Division had moved swiftly from its bases around Baghdad towards the Golan, a distance of over 1,000 kilometers.
We arrived that night at the outskirts of Damascus. It was guarded by Syrian civilians. The things they said to us that night, the 11th of October, shocked us. Are you Iraqis? Yes, we are Iraqis. For God's sake, save our honor. We thought it was a total victory. That was a huge shock. We started to realize that the situation had completely changed.
Despite their fatigue, the Iraqi forces were rushed to the front to reinforce Syrian troops retreating before the advancing Israelis.
We had penetrated deep into Syrian territory. I climbed a couple of observation towers. I saw the air was full of dust, and I assumed it was one of our forces on the move. The division commander called me in and told me that a very large force was moving towards us, and that it was very close, something like 1,000 meters away.
In that situation, that was a strategic victory on the Syrian front. The timing was perfect. If it had come just 24 hours later, it would have been much tougher, and the Israeli forces would have reached the gates of Damascus.
5 squadrons of the Iraqi Air Force, some 60 aircraft, were flown to Syria to make up for losses sustained by the Syrian Air Force.
The Iraqi presence refreshed the Syrian pilots' appetite for the battle. Even the most hesitant now said, how come pilots from Iraq are up for the fight while the Syrians are reluctant to leave base? So it turned into a competition to carry out their missions.
With the arrival and the participation of Iraqi forces in the war, the Jordanian army was now straining at the leash.
It was very embarrassing for us. I mean, it embarrassed the late King Hussein a lot, because there were 2 Arab countries who had had territory occupied in 1967, and Jordan was the 3rd Arab country whose territory had been occupied in 1967. But those 2 other countries are fighting to regain what they lost, while you're not. I remember I attended one of the meetings he held with the military, and I saw how much pressure they put on him to go to war.
In the face of the present developments, the Jordanian forces entered Syria and have been heavily engaged in action throughout yesterday.
But the Iraqis and Jordanians were not the first to arrive. 5 months before the outbreak of the war, King Hassan II of Morocco had sent a brigade to support the Syrian front. The Moroccan brigade was given the name Tajrida.
The expression Tajrida means help or campaign. The Moroccans were given the task of guarding the eastern foothills of Mount Hermon.
More expeditionary forces would soon arrive from other Arab countries.
On the Syrian front, we first faced a Moroccan brigade. Later, the Iraqis came, and we fought them too. Then later the Jordanians came, and after that the Saudis. So we found 4 armies there we had to fight.
The Israelis had suffered heavy losses, but they had also achieved significant gains in the last 4 days. They had advanced to within 35 kilometers of Damascus and occupied new territories to bring to the bargaining table after the war.